944 right now. Peter Pitts is co-founder of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, former FDA Associate Commissioner. Peter, welcome to the show, brother.
My pleasure.
Nice to have you here. Already, we started talking a little bit. Healthcare, Medicare for all, healthcare for all. What's going on? The healthcare companies. We talked about all of this in 2 seconds, and just let it rip on the radio, man, because the healthcare companies, they're not healthcare companies. They're banks. They're lobbyists. Everybody seems to be paid off. Prescription drugs are so expensive. You have an answer to all of this, sir.
Well, my answer is diet and exercise, but nobody wants to hear
now,
that.
Let's not get overzealous
But whether
here.
you're a pharmaceutical company or an insurance company or a middleman like pharmacy benefit managers or politicians,
yeah.
At the end of the day, your mission is a higher one. It's advancing the public health. And I think a lot of people have been caught up in advancing their stock price or protect themselves against congressional hearings. And politicians, believe me, they bear a fair amount of blame here. But it's an ecosystem. We've all got to work together rather than pointing the fingers. The Japanese have a great saying, which is don't fix the blame, fix the problem. And I think it's about time for that.
Yeah, you could tell. And you're telling me, and I'm thinking, the way the healthcare, and I have friends in the healthcare industry, they're so frustrated. They know it can be fixed, but they go in, the lobbyists down there pay off the politicians. I think it happens on the immigration thing, just as an aside, not to go there. But it's like, I think somebody's being paid off somewhere. So they stonewall it. It probably is, what's the solution for health care? Because they kept saying, Obamacare, okay, that didn't work. Then they're going to repeal and replace. And this is what my mantra has been, and replace it with, and the Republicans had no answer either. But Donald Trump wanted to change it. Show me something. They showed the president nothing. What is the answer, do you think, that would be amenable to everybody, every citizen?
There's this old saying that for every complicated problem, there's a simple solution that's wrong. And I think a lot of politicians have like a simple answer, like drugs from Canada or Medicare for all, and these words are going to magically fix the problem.
Yeah.
But they won't, and no one ever has an idea about what actually is going to happen once they get past their 4-second soundbite. So I think part of the answer is it's complicated, unfortunately, and politicians hate complicated answers. But everybody's got to give a little. Everybody's got to focus on what's best for the patient. That's got to be the primary goal here, as opposed to what's going to make my stock price go higher, or what's going to get me a front page story, or what's going to get me a couple of votes. You got to keep the patient, the person taking the meds, wanting to get better, right there, front and center, 100% of the time.
We have balance in nature here, if you'd like some right in front of us. We have the vitamins here, which we're trying to offset any situation medically that could hurt us, for sure. Importing drugs from Canada. I mean, we've all gone to Canada. It's always cheaper. It seems always easier. Should we be able to import drugs from Canada?
If you drive to Toronto and you go to a brick-and-mortar pharmacy, those drugs are safe and effective. Health Canada, which is their version of the FDA, is a gold standard regulatory. Absolutely. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is drugs over the internet, drugs coming in through Canada, drugs that aren't even legal for sale in Canada. Plus, 90% of the drugs by volume in the U.S. are generic drugs, and generic drugs are cheaper in the U.S. than in Canada or Europe. That's 90% of the volume. And of course, we're never talking about importing, refrigerated drugs, insulin, things like that. So you have to ask yourself, what's left? Why all this political blather about drugs from Canada? Because it's really it's a bright path for counterfeiters. These are a lot of these internet pharmacies. These are profiteers masquerading as pharmacists. They don't need to be rewarded. They need to be put out of business. And this one company the FDA just sent a letter to, it's not even a pharmacy. It's a distributor.
In America, this is? Or is this
there are a bunch of counties in the States that are buying drugs from this distributor in Canada.
Got it.
And who knows where these drugs come from? I mean, they're certainly not FDA approved. And Health Canada says they're not taking responsibility for the quality. So, what's going on here?
Why can't we do this? And let's talk about solution. I'm a solution-based show. Why don't you go to the stressed areas of like Paterson, New Jersey, or Oakland, California, or south side of Chicago, and why don't the pharmaceuticals put an investment into those communities and make generic drugs there? Why do we have to make Claritin I think Claritin's made here. They fly it to Ireland. I've said this before on the air. The plane lands in Ireland. All of a sudden, you get the Irish tax break. It's like, why can't we fix that here in America?
Well, you get what you incentivize, right? And if you incentivize companies to move overseas, companies move overseas. If you want them to build their factories and distribution plants in enterprise zones, I think it's more likely to do that. So it's really keeping your eye on the prize. It's like bringing Google to New York City. If you want them to come here, you have to give them benefits. You have to make them an offer. That's capitalism, and it really does help the guy and the family on the street. It builds daycare centers. It brings stores to distressed areas. We should think about that.
And in terms of economically, in terms of public health, if we abolish the private health insurance system, health-wise, economically, it could destroy America, yes?
Well, it would. In the U.S., there are more people on government health care in the U.S. than any country in the world. We have a two-part system. Part of it's private, private's public. And that's actually where the rest of the world is going. So they're looking to us for solutions to their problems, saying that we want healthcare like in Europe, even though there is no European system. It just shows the ignorance of the people that are saying those types of things.
It's amazing, And Commissioner Scott Gottlieb leaving the FDA less than 2 years after his confirmation. What do you think of his tenure?
Well, Scott's a pal of mine. I think he's terrific. He's done a great job. He's really brought the FDA, as opposed to being a sea anchor to innovation, to really being a accelerator to innovation. And that's what you need. You need all these government agencies being both regulator, because that's important. You have to have a watchdog, but also helping people get things done faster. And sometimes that means helping them fail faster. Because rather than spending more money than fail, help them fail earlier, reinvest the money in R&D.
Oh, man. It's an uphill climb, but at least there's some solutions here. Peter Pitts, co-founder of the Center for Medicine in the Public Interest, a former FDA Associate Commissioner. Where can we find you, Peter, online?
Oh, thanks. It's www.cmpi.org, Center for Medicine in the Public Interest. Log on, join the party. There's a lot to talk about.
Peter Pitts. Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. I call you Commissioner. Can I even do your assistant? I can call you Commissioner.
You can, or just call me Peter.
All right, Peter. Thanks, brother. Thanks a lot.